Hello and welcome to the CPA update video. This is going to be on what we did the last week, and basically we finished module 4. All we have to do is the test, and then we are done learning new information. And we can get on to the summary, we can get on to the the summary, and then we can get on to the exam, and then we'll be done. So I will go over what we learned on Module 4, and what we did was we learned about enum types and overloading operators. So I have an example here, and I will try to explain it as we go. So we look at main, and we make an object called v1 with these two things, v2 with these two things, and v3 with these two things. So we go up here, we look at the class v, because we use v. It's also the only, I have a Java update available. Cool, I'll do that later. Wait, they changed something. It actually shows, oh wow, that's cool. They didn't do that before. Anyways, we look at the constructor with this one. So vec0 equals a0, which is this 0, and vec1, a1. Makes sense. Each object has its own vector. Okay, so now we're going to make a float. And usually you would be confused because you can't just do this. But since we're overloading, wait. Oh, wait. No, we're overloading. Yeah, you can't just usually just equal that plus that. You can equal one, but you can't equal both, like plus. So we're overloading this plus operator. See, right here. So since it's inside a class, you only need one argument. If you don't have if you aren't inside a class, you would need two, because you need the object. I mean, yeah, whatever. Anyways, so basically, we're gonna make a res vector, and then a for loop, and it's gonna loop it twice, and that res is going to be, and it's I, so right now it's gonna be 0 the first time. So vec 0 plus vec arg vec I, so 0. So basically, what that does is vec I is v1 and arg vec is v2, because it's v1 plus is what it's doing. That's the way I explained it to Tyson when he had some trouble. Excuse me, I got a little heartburn, so there we go. I apologize. So it's a v1 plus, which is already, you can do that because it's this plus. Yeah, okay, yeah, no, that kind of makes sense, right? So it's the class plus that. So that's because it's inside the class, you're changing only to the v class. So we're doing v1 plus v2. So v2 is the arg. So res vector is vec v1 vector 0, which would be 0 plus arg vec I, so 0. So it's plus 1. So that would mean, and then you return res after you do it, or run it again. So now it's done. It's going to the I equals 1 now, so it's the same thing. So 1 plus 0. Now we're going to return res, and when you return res, that's making v3 equals res. So now, after that happens, you're just returning 0 plus 1 for vec 0. So this would be equals 1. This would also be equals 1. I apologize. I just got a phone call. I don't know if you heard that. Um, and now, we're going to use the float x, and that's going to equal v1 times v2. And again, we overloaded this operator times. And this is actually an example of how you would do the other one, but outside of the class. So instead we do float, and then you see how we need both arguments. But yeah, it's just an example. It's not exactly what you would just do like float operator. You'd have to change some stuff, but you can see that it's very similar stuff that we're doing. You can look inside, it's very similar. However, you need to have the left and right class. So what this is going to do, so it's x equals v1 times v2. So we look at that. So it's v1 times v2, so left and right. So v1 is left, v2 is right. Float res. I don't really know why they call it res, but it's just like the temporary. I would call it temp if I was coding it, but they call it res, whatever. They equal it to 0. Also, I don't know why they equal to 0. They could just do float res and then semicolon, but whatever. I'm not coding this, whatever. I'm just explaining it. So now we're going to go in the for loop again, and it's going to go through twice. It's going to start at 0, and it's very similar to here, except instead you're timesing it, and you're not putting it into a vector. You're just making it a float. So res plus equals left vector I, so 0 times right vector I, so 0. So what would this be? 0 times 1 equals 0. And then that's what that equals. So res is that right now. And then you're going to plus left vector 1, so it's 1 times 0, which is 0. So it's res is 0. So x is 0. So when we run this, 1, 1, which is when we do v3 equals plus v1 plus v2, and then 0. And that's overloading. And yeah, that's overloading, and that's all I'm going to talk about today because I don't want to explain enums because it's 7 minutes. Or well, okay, I might if I can find it really easily. I didn't plan on showing it, but I might. There it is. It's gonna be very basic. So basically, enums are just it's an easier way for the programmer to understand what's going on. Okay, so and then so enums, you can declare enums enumerator types two ways. You can define it like this, or you can define them like this: enum weekday. This is the better way to do it, honestly. This makes it so much easier. And okay, so this might be confusing, but it's like weekday is the class type, and these are objects. I kind like that. Now that's a very bad way of explaining it, but it is kind of like that. Anyways, so we go look at this. So Sunday equals 0, and then Monday 1, Tuesday 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So this is the weekdays. And this automatically happens when you do weekday and then this. So basically what happens if you don't say Sunday equals 1, because you can do that, it automatically goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's like an array. It starts at 0. Anyways, so enums are like uh, integers that has names that the programmer can understand. It's really weird. There's no like advantage. Well, okay, no, there's no advantage just on code base of using enums. I don't think. I might be wrong. I might just not be that creative and not understand what can be used, or maybe yeah, whatever. But I just know how to use it. So basically, int big day equals Monday. So big day equals Monday, which is 1. So now big day equals 1. Big day does not equal Monday, right? So you can just replace this with 1. You can literally replace Monday with 1, and it's the same thing. And then plus plus big day. Now big day equals 2. Okay, that it does not equal Tuesday, it equals 2. Now we're going to check if big day is equal to Sunday, which is 0. You're just checking if it's equal to 0. Not checking if big day equals Sunday, checking if big day equals 0. And this is shown by when they actually use a number, it works because we're not just making it an enum type. I don't even know if you can do that, but it's an int. So yeah, that's pretty much enums, enumerated types. That's literally it. It None of the symbols have any value. They're always treated as strings. Consider the following snippet will cause the x variable to be assigned to the value of 0, not 2. Okay, yeah. This is another thing you can't do, like math or whatever. Yeah, you can't. Okay, yeah, you can't do math. Alpha times 2, like, wait, no, it's gonna be 0 now because it doesn't know what to do. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We're gonna take the. Actually, I'll just can show you what's going on. Oh, we finished. This is the module 4. Finished study resources. I finished quiz 4. Now we need to take test 4 tomorrow. And then we just do end of course information. Wait, what? There's no summary? Oh yeah, there's a summary test, but they don't just do a summary thing. Yeah, we do end of course information, and then summary test, final test, and then we just take the exam. So that's pretty much what's going on. So yeah, see you.